in hitting, once a hitter gets to the point where his swing is pretty efficient, now the next phase of this is timing. And in hitting, there's two very distinctly different sets of timing. There's first the timing of the body parts falling into the most efficient swing possible. And what that means is he's going to load up, he's going to stretch all the right muscles, he's going to get the foot down in on time, he's going to release all the energy from the backside, he's going to get full extension, front side's going to lock. All those things are going to take place in an efficient swing in order for him to have his body timing just right. Now, as far as the pitch timing is concerned, that's a whole nother animal. And so the difficult part, and the part where we start most of the arguments when it comes to approach in hitting, has to do with this. And that is, well, what do you do when it's not a fastball? How do you get that same swing? You notice here there's no hesitation. He loads up, recognizes the pitch, is on his way, foot gets down in time, and just about very close to 100% on-time contact. So he has both sets of timing right. He's got his body efficient, and so the body timing is right, and the pitch timing is right. This is roughly a 95-mile-an-hour fastball based on the time it's simulated. I'm only at about 22 feet here when I let go of it, but it's the same. It duplicates the pitch pretty closely, but from a time perspective, it's right on the money for a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. So he gets ready, loads up, is already in a fully loaded position by the time I release the ball. So he's ready to go. He's just waiting for the pitch to tell him a couple more yeses for him to pull the trigger. All right, now let's quick look at a different pitch. This is a loopy curveball. He's expecting a loopy curveball. He's sitting on a loopy curveball. I might throw him 3 fastballs in a row, but when he sees this, he's going to have a slightly different load time when it comes to this pitch. So if it's a fastball, he really doesn't have a whole lot of shot at that. There's some blending stuff that you can do, but we're just going to talk about basic timing in this. But you see, at the moment of release, he's not fully loaded yet. That means in his mind, he's anticipating. This is where he was at release in the earlier 95-mile-an-hour swing. But he waits a little bit, loads a little later, anticipates that little hump on the ball, and so he can recognize the fact that that's a slower pitch, and then get to that same full extension, locked, off the backside, and 100% on time to that 62-mile-an-hour pitch. So now, if we take this pitch and put it on top of the other one, we're going to notice some differences. But the swing, the swing itself, pardon me, is really not very different at all. The only thing that's different is the amount of time that he stays in that loaded position. You can see the hip of this 95-mile-an-hour pitch is already starting to open up. He's already starting to take a stride. Foot's getting down, and it's time to go. And in the other swing, he's still up in that loaded position, and I call that hang time. He's created some hang time. And once he recognizes the fact that this loopy curveball, that the pitch has a hump on it instead of being straight out of his hand, it's going to trigger him into staying in that loaded position longer. But then, that's when the swing differences stop, because now he's going to get the foot down just before the hands start to come forward. It's at a very different time than the other swing, but it's the same. It's the same swing with a different timing mechanism, a different hang time. And that's really the only thing that should change, is the hang time. Unless he's really anticipating a curveball or something really off speed. You notice his foot is still touching the ground here, because that's what he's doing. He's sitting on a curveball. Gets it, and is 100% on time. Now, if he wasn't sitting on a curveball, but he still got that curveball, if he were in this 95-mile-an-hour load where he got there a little earlier, anticipating 95, and by the time the ball gets out of my hand and travels a little bit, the curveball would be way up here. So he would recognize that, and if he stays here just long enough, there's a decent chance that he's going to recognize this curveball and still possibly be able to do something about it. But in reality, the point that I've been trying to make with the whole time training program is the idea that sitting pitches is the only way that a hitter is going to be 100% on time, enough to where he can do some serious damage and hit a lot of doubles and home runs when it comes to having an elite pitcher. When the pitching is average, then you can take a lot of approaches at the plate and still be okay. But from my perspective, the most crucial decision that a hitter has to make early on, once he gets the swing to the point where it's efficient, is what approach is he going to take to the plate that's going to allow him to be 100% on time with both of those sets of timings, both the body timing and the timing of the pitch itself. In this case, 0.400 seconds or 95 miles an hour.